Welcome back to Batwatch, right here at Absolutely Marvel and DC. My name is Benny, that is Sal, and we got Dan? Yeah, that's right. Dylan said he doesn't like animations, and he's on vacation. So, we decided to do Batwatch on a movie that Dan wanted to watch. Which, Sal, what is the movie?
Battle of the Super Sons? Actually, I think
titled,
it's Batman, Superman, Battle of the Super Sons.
Yeah, which is why we were like, I guess it's a Batwatch movie. We might as well do it while it's kind of relevant.
Batman's in it.
Yeah. He does have a prominent role in it. But today's episode is brought to you by our sponsor, GamerSupps. Use the code COMICS at checkout. Get yourself some new energy drink. I recommend the Citrus Lemonade or the Gamer Farts. Or you can get yourself a waifu cup. They have shakers, but some of them have anime girls on them, which I enjoy. So, it's like whenever I get my energy drink, Sal, I can just, and I got my bikini girl. Yay.
And you got your bikini girl. All right.
All right, guys. So we're going to talk about Battle for the Super Sons. We're not going to go blow by blow. Let's just kick it off with our first initial thoughts, and then we'll start going through our favorite moments. Sal, what were your thoughts on this? Because you watch all the animated stuff, but it's not your priority.
It's not.
Case in point, this one you only watched yesterday, and I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, I skipped a lot of stuff. Like I skipped the second half of Long Halloween, and I haven't watched all of it, and it's just because I find that the animation can be take it or leave it, and very selective. And I was turned off initially by the animation style of this movie, and there are some dings I will give this movie for the animation. But overall, I really enjoyed it. I know we talked about this a lot not too long ago, where you were like, why are they doing this? You have a universe now. You're building it out. Why did you make this other movie that has nothing to do with it? And it doesn't. It has nothing to do with that universe. It's a completely different universe. And it's not even like it's connected to like the JLU universe. It's its own thing that is almost like a kind of quasi-adaptation of like the comics. It's not even a direct adaptation of the Super Sons comics. They did their own thing, which is one of the notes I liked about it, because I didn't know what was coming. It was a new Super Sons story. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yet I felt it really was a good successor, a great adaptation of that relationship and that universe. Dan, what do you think?
So I will say I watched it 2 weeks ago, I think, so I'm probably not going to be as fresh with a lot of things as you guys. But I will say I thought it was a great film, but the animation style is, well, to put it easily, when I told Benny and Sal to watch this, my first thing was just get past the animation style and you will enjoy the film. Because if you look at it and you just take that as your initial thing, as well as Superman's voice just felt a little off to me.
Not great.
I don't know what was up with his voice. That
weird choice. They thought it was like, play it like her, and it's like, that sucks.
Yeah. They made it they made Barry White be freaking Superman in this. But like besides those two things, I thought it was a really good story. I thought it was like they really captured the essence of Damian and John, and like it truly felt like I was reading one of their comics, but just watching it on screen. So I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that's how I felt about it too. And one thing I really liked about it is this isn't a direct adaptation from any of the comic books. Like my biggest complaint we've had recently is that they take like 4 stories, they merge it into one. Now we can't use those 4 stories. The only thing that they kind of used here, and I think they did a good job with it, was the initial meeting.
Yeah.
But you don't need that for any of the stories involving the Super Sons. Like,
no,
we didn't deep dive into their friendships or whatever. And I also like that they tapped into a few things like John doesn't have friends. Damian's not invited on the Titans. Like, you tapped into a few things that exist in their run of comics.
Yeah, they had Cassie Sandsmark in this movie. Like, what?
Yeah. It was. I liked how they handled it, and I liked the animation grew on me pretty quickly. I do think this is like the worst of the animated movies. Mm-hmm. But overall, I did enjoy it, and I also liked the amount of Batman Superman we got, because I was watching the timer, and I'm like, it's an hour and 15 minutes, and it was like 30 minutes in before the Super Sons were a thing, and I'm like, oh, is this going to be a Batman Superman movie where they barely talk, they barely interact, but by the ending, they're buddies? No, it became a Super Sons movie, which I really appreciated. But I also felt like we got a lot of Batman. Like, they did a really good job of portraying Batman in this as the unknowing father, doesn't know what to do. Clark, how should I handle this? And I liked that. So
Yeah, it was more of a Superman movie, I think, than a Batman movie. But Batman certainly does play a prime role, and Damian is 50% of the cast, the main cast.
Yeah,
and so I get it. Like, But we get to go home with Clark. We get to see like his married life. We get to see the Superman origin again. Whereas Batman, like we go to Batman's cave. Batman is there. He fights Damien. You know, like he doesn't really do much or say much. But even when he does, I'm like, hey, it's Troy Baker, the Ninja Turtles Batman. All right, cool, that's fine.
But I see, I liked that though because Superman. Yes, we know the origin. But Batman's origins are way overplayed.
Well,
like
we get it. Like we don't. Oh, I don't want to see an origin. Well, thankfully, because they tied the main villain into Superman's origins as well. Which is like, oh, that's neat.
And then,
is that a thing that's happened in the comics? The way that they did that?
No,
it was brand new. Okay, that's what I thought.
Starro's origins in this are completely.
I also like that because we do have a movie, even though they're not related. We do have a movie with the origin of Damian. They didn't waste any time. Nope. They literally that's my son, Talia and Raish. He was raised in an assassin. All you need to know moving forward.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I thought that was a great way to handle it because Superman tied into Starro, you kind of want to give a little of that origin because you're introducing John.
Yes.
No one knows who John is outside of this movie, but we do know Batman, we do know Robin, we do know Superman. So we don't need to harp on them.
Right, but if you only know Robin as a character, you don't know Damian.
Right, which is why
great. This is this is who Damian is. Here's his parents. You know Talia's his mom, so you know he's messed up, and he's new. Like he just moved in a few months ago, so it's like that's.
And they set that up with like 3 sentences from Batman.
It was really economical. Like the movie's an hour 15. It's not a movie length.
Yeah.
It's 2 episodes of a show.
Yeah.
And yet you get like a movie out of it that actually has a lot. You get Superman's origin. You get a Justice League fight. You get a Titans fight. You get Superman and Lois and like actual kind of human interest stuff going on. You have an arc for John, an arc for Damian. Like you have at least 6 or 7, you have half a dozen things going on that are things that happen in a movie. Mm-hmm. And yet it's all thoroughly satisfying. The only thing that's weird is Superman's voice is way too stiff, and the animation is clearly just like, this is cheaper than doing like any other type of animation. And
the only nod to the traditional universe that I saw that I was kind of like, that is a reach. They did President Luthor.
Oh my God!
That has been in nothing that I've seen in the animated universe. Like that's not a thing. At least you could be like, Damian has an origin in this movie, and this happened over here, and this
because he has been like it's a pastiche of like everything. Like Lex Luthor was president. We'll put that in there. Damian was Robin, and he has this origin. We're gonna use that. We're gonna use Super Son stuff. What period are we using for Batman? This one. And the Titans are this. You know, like a lot of implied stuff, but. It's one of those things where this was clearly like either it was made for fans, like only, or I don't know what, because when Lois is like, oh, I got to break into the satellite feed or I got to use the president. I'm like, oh, well, the president's going to be Lex Luthor.
Oh, yeah. I thought the exact same thing. I'm like, it's going to be Lex Luthor. There's no way it won't be if you're referencing the president.
Yeah, but I will say I think that this is a great introduction for a lot of people, like for newcomers into like the current landscape of DC, and it only made me more sad that John's a teenager because I was like, oh man, this was really good. This was like really good status quo.
I mean, that's the biggest problem going on in comics. It really was a good one to have a proper Superboy that is with Superman. I love Connor, but he never got to live with Superman and have that relationship, which is always the downside of Connor. John had that relationship, was great for the 5 years that he existed.
Yeah.
And then Brian Michael Bendis is like, well, I want to tell a story about a kid removed from time and how his dad reflects on that.
Yeah.
Cool.
I don't want to do that.
Brian, when you're done, can you reverse it?
No. No, I can't. And let's give a status quo that is irreversible.
Well, he probably could. He just decided not to.
Yeah, that was the thing that really blew my mind about the whole Brian Michael Bendis thing. I almost felt like he didn't revert it, almost out of spite.
Yeah,
you guys don't like what I did? Well, fine. Someone else could deal with that.
Yeah, and then Taylor's like, how about I don't? How about I cement it? And it's like, okay. Well,
yeah, and I was cemented in with Sadek Al-Lao. But that's a debate for another day about the loss of John as a teenager and the original Super Sons. And you know what? And I will say, I want to do one last note on that. Because I've looked into a lot of Super Sons stories that we didn't cover on the channel so that I can start covering them to go with this. And there was a lot of attempts to just bring back the Super Sons out of continuity, and they just didn't work because it was out of continuity. Like this is, you could do so much of that of continuity, but it was just like, I looked it up with Dan. There's like 25 issues of Super Sons we've never touched because we didn't know it existed.
Wait, right, exactly. And that's a big thing for like monthly comic book readers is it should matter. It needs to be in canon, and it's just it just isn't. Or if it isn't, or if it is, it wasn't enough to matter, you know, like, but anyway, but this is a great, I think, introduction to the DC universe as a like movie where it's like, oh, you need to know like what kind of status quo Batman and Superman are at. Well, they're parents now. It doesn't affect their ability to be superheroes, and their offspring are cool.
One thing I really enjoyed about it was, like you guys were saying, they did go a lot into like John as a kid, really set up his backstory, and within literally like 2 moments of Damian, you get everything you need to know about the character, because he literally just shoves John off of the balcony and he's like, oh, well, we're going to find out if adrenaline kicks it in. And it's such a Damian thing to do, to just instinctively, just impulsively shove him off. Or like later on, you see him talking to like the Titans. Yeah. And you get that aspect of also the immaturity of him, of like, oh yeah, I'm a part of this. Oh, you don't need me? Well, you guys suck, and you're terrible, and you're not important in any way. And it was like such small things really just made you go, I know who this character is. I don't need anything else. I know who this character is just off of these 2 interactions.
Yeah. And I really liked how they harped on the Damian's kind of a dick, but we also smoothed that over real quick. Like we did it. We established that he's kind of rough around the edges. He's difficult to get along with, and that John's going to be his real only friend because John deals with that.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But we also didn't waste time on it. We didn't spend an hour of Damian being like, no, John, I don't want to hang out with John. Screw John. No, it was like, oh, this stupid farm boy. Oh, the aliens are here. Let me go get John. He's my new friend.
Right. Like immediately. Or like, let me beat up his bully. And you know, like you could have easily spent the opening. It could have just been like, Starro escaped from the Fortress of Solitude zoological prison. That's it. And had the opening sequence be Damian on the Titans and show what a jerk he is and how no one likes him, and you know how he doesn't mesh well with others and stuff like that. But they're like, no, that could be summed up in a conversation, in a cell phone conversation. And it's like,
they wanted to spend time with John. They wanted to give us a lot of John, and I loved the John moments though, like when Lois showed up and she was controlled. And he's like, Mom, can I do this? And she's like, yeah, you could eat ice cream and have the snacks and play video games. Right. That's not my mom.
Yeah, that's not my mom. I loved it. I love the animation of not the animation, but like the execution of Starro. Now it's like it hides in your mouth and it pops out your face.
Yep.
And
yes, I really enjoyed that as well, because like when they showed him as the villain, my first thought was, you don't hide that. They literally walk around with a giant starfish, and I thought that was a really good like little change to just make it better from a viewing standpoint.
Right. I agree. No, it was really smart. It was, like I said, I've said it a couple times, but it's economic. Like this movie was like, here's the story. It's very simple. It could have been the pilot for like a Super Sons ongoing serials of like serials of movies where it's like, here's a bunch of Super Sons
maybe in theory
movies.
it is. Like
I hope it is, because
the continued issue I think we've been having with DCU animation is that they've obviously cut the budget down, and the marketing team doesn't want to promote anything. Like,
what are they doing instead? By the way, like what are they marketing if not
like this? This movie came out 2 weeks ago. When this blew my mind, and I wanted to bring this up, your guys' thoughts on this, because I think we've covered everything we enjoyed about the movie without spoiling the finale, which I do say I think the finale was great. I thought it was
fun.
I highly recommend this movie, and just to end our initial thoughts, to make it work with Batwatch, I love the portrayal of Batman. I love the portrayal of Damian. I love the portrayal of John.
Yeah.
Clark was good. The voice was a little off. But I just felt overall this was a great Batman, Superman, Super Sons movie. You 100%. Got a lot of everything, and I thought it was a good movie in general, so I highly recommend it.
Yeah, you could do more. You could always do more with this, and with all of them. Like it's not a universe that I need to see like a Batman movie in this universe. You know, like it's not like this
just
is like
do Super Sons.
Just do Super Sons, and it's like we get the rest.
Yeah. This movie, one of the comics for the Super Sons was them in the future as grandparents, and they're reading stories to the kids. This would be a great way to do like that style of movies of. They're just telling a story of what they did when they were kids and how it played out.
But one thing that blows my mind, so this movie came out on the same week as Black Adam and Gotham Knights. So it was literally
Amazon, by the way, not on HBO Max.
Yeah.
Not even like a paid thing at HBO Max, just on Amazon. So what is even like, and it wasn't even promoted on HBO. It wasn't even like go here to get Super Sons.
No.
What is going on with DC's marketing? Because it was literally Wednesday was Super Sons, Thursday was Gotham Knights, and then Friday was Black Adam.
right?
They were all kind of intermingled, like some got early access, some did. But either way, they all came out in like a 3-day span of time.
Right.
And this got the shaft because it was a big video game that everyone's looking forward to hate on or love. Either way, it's coming out. And a big movie being promoted by The Rock. And by the way, we made an animated movie at the same time that we're not going to tell you about.
Is this like made by like the fact that it went to Amazon and not the other places and didn't really have much advertising? Is this like the same studio, or is this kind of like the Hulk is owned by Universal, so they're ignored by the main people? They have to do their own thing, because that would make a lot of sense. That they wouldn't have to they wouldn't care what the other studios.
No, they own the
No, I
animation.
saw the Warner Brothers logo at the beginning. Like it's
owned by
Warner Brothers
production
Animation.
is Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Distributed by Warner Brothers. Production is Warner. It's just Warner Brothers Animation.
No, it's just
Well,
a
then that's
dumb
embarrassing
decision.
for
It's just an embarrassingly stupid execution. Like, what are you doing, man? And hopefully under the Gunn administration, we'll see like maybe a change. I feel like a lot of stuff that, I mean, like obviously Gunn hasn't had a chance to actually do anything. He's gonna have to promote Guardians of the Galaxy 3 when that movie's done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, so but hopefully we see a better synergy between the projects at this one studio.
Or maybe this, like, if this eventually goes to HBO Max for the free
They'll
streaming,
promote it, yeah.
Then they'll be like, hey guys, check out the DC HBO Max thing. Here's hope.
Right.
Maybe.
I would hope.
Fun fact, the voice of John, I couldn't place who it was. It's the kid that plays the kid in Shazam.
Oh, no kidding.
That's who it was.
Really?
Yeah, that's why it sounded familiar to me. I couldn't
Like in
place
the
it.
live action Billy Batson?
The live action one, yeah.
that's
Yeah.
right.
That makes
Okay.
sense. They're both, by the way, both Damien and John had great voice cast. Like, I loved how
they were perfect. And Superman was done by Travis Willingham. He's one of the Critical Role guys.
Yes, he is. He was
Laura
also
Bailey
in,
was Lois Lane.
Yep.
I didn't realize they had like a big all-star cast too.
Yeah, I'm sure they really appreciated the not promotion this movie got.
Yeah, Nolan. I recognized Nolan North as Jor-El.
Right.
Yeah,
I did
immediately.
recognize him. His voice is just. As soon as he started talking at the beginning, I'm like, Nathan Drake? What? Are we gonna go on an adventure, Jor-El?
Right. The Superman voice, I feel like it wasn't terrible. It just doesn't fit Superman.
It was
I
too
felt like-
stiff. It was just.
Yeah.
It was like an impression of Superman. It wasn't
Yeah.
Superman.
Yeah.
Like when he's hitting with his son and he's like, "You're the most important person in the world to me." I'm like, dude, turn it off.
It
Like,
just doesn't make sense that this
soften.
movie had the crazy cast. Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry, Sal. Go ahead.
no, that's it. Just like soften it up, man. Like, let the guard down.
It just doesn't make like the cast is like a huge voice acting like alumni cast. And
I know.
Guys, by the way, we're just not going to tell anyone that we made the movie. We're just not going to. Like, I saw ads for it at the back of the comics, and I get
Yeah.
it. Like, there needs to be more than that.
Yeah. No, it was weird. But like as far as Batwatch goes, give it two batarangs up. I don't know. It's a good movie. It was just fun. It wasn't so much a Batman movie, but it did star Batman's son, and Batman
Right.
was in it, and we got to see the Bat Cave, and it's actually kind of fun, and we didn't really play with it much, but like John is a Batman fan. He has no fewer than 2 posters of Batman in his room, one of which was drawn by Jim Lee, and it's like, I like the idea that he's like, you're the greatest superhero in the world, notwithstanding Batman, and it's like, I like the idea that Superman's son is a big Batman fan. I think that'd be really funny if he's just like, you shouldn't be a Batman fan. Batman's not somebody to be emulated.
I also like that they flew, but just aside that they flew by Gotham. What's that smell?
That's Gotham City. Yeah. Yeah. But I thought that was cute because it's like, hey, like it was his birthday, and he's like, well, he wants to meet Batman, so I'm gonna let him meet Batman for his birthday.
Right.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It was a lot of those moments in this movie where like things are referenced and carried over. It's weird because it's like it's not a movie length, but
No.
it is.
Which
it
I
is a
found
better,
weird.
No, but it's a better crafted movie than a lot of other movies we've seen with the superhero moniker.
That's an hour and 15 minutes. It's you could do it over a dinner. Like, hey, let's watch dinner, eat dinner, watch Super Sons.
That's what we did. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for joining us to this episode of Batwatch. If you're wondering where the show's been, there's just been a little bit of a scheduling hoopla because of Dylan out, then Sal was out, then I'd be out, and then so much was going on, like Black Adam and stuff. And on top of that, we then have to find time to watch the show. So we're going to try to get it back next week. We're going to try to get back on the cycle of it. But the show's not gone. We've just moved into the realm of animation, which maybe we'll bring in Dan for all the animation ones. Because Dylan adamantly dislikes the animations. So
Yeah, he thinks it's like fake and wrong and weird, and I'm like, what?
But anyway, guys, thank you for joining us today. If you want to keep the show going and you want to support it, consider going to our YouTube memberships. Is where we're bringing exclusive content and stuff like that over there. We'd love to have you a part of that. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.